let's roll right into, like I said, we're going to start with 7 and then we're going to see how far we get. And if we have time for the other ones, that we're going to go back to that. I had slated, dear Amy, 7 best pieces of dietary advice. Care to kick us off?
Sure. And some of these.
No pressure.
I'm not feeling the pressure. I put number 1, and this is best dietary advice, right?
Yes.
Or am I backwards?
Yes, best. These are things that we want people to do.
Such a hard concept to overcome, just coming from the SIBO landscape.
And Candida, like both of those are very like guerrilla warfare, like kill the enemy kind of mentality. So it's hard to take your brain and kind of turn that around.
Exactly.
But basically, if you could try to eat as much diversity as possible, either in the way of the diversity of your plant foods, the diversity of your protein sources, the diversity of your healthy fats, that diversity will give you stability.
Looking at your plate, having a third of your plate be some sort of protein, a third of your plate some sort of like carb, so like a starchy vegetable or a fruit, and then the other third is some sort of non-starchy vegetable.
And you know, like, and he goes into detail in his books where like a Pop-Tart is not food, it's a modified food-like product. Or, you know, like I can't believe it's not butter light. Probably not a food so much as it is a modified food-like product. But like an apple is a food. Rice is a food.
So yeah, that's a really good one. Trying not to overcomplicate it and keeping it simple.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I hear so often working with people like, you know, I eliminated all these foods and I feel like I was totally fine eating it before.
Yep.
And now I'm either scared to eat it or I'm having reactions that I wasn't having before. And I just think it's so important to listen to your body, not eliminate foods you don't have to eliminate, keep your diet as broad as possible, and with the caveat of trying to reduce symptoms a little bit. I mean, obviously we don't want you eating foods that are like major triggers.
Yeah. If something is low FODMAP, but it's, I don't know, like what scenario? I didn't have one prepared for that. But like if something is gluten-free, as an easier example, but it's a gluten-free Pop-Tart, we'll pick on Pop-Tarts again. It's not like a health promoting food. I think that there's value in eating a little bit of junk and enjoying your life and just having a good working relationship with food and not being too strict. But if you're fooling yourself into thinking like, oh, I'm eating this lovely, healthy breakfast and you're having a gluten-free Pop-Tart, I mean, like, you're kind of fooling yourself there.
Again, I just see here or there, but I think it's really important to take a lunch break.
And we'll go into 5 favorite antimicrobials. Now, I gave you my list. I don't know if you agree with my list or not, but what are your 5 favorite antimicrobials?
Yeah.
With a caveat, people don't go and think like, ooh, okay, I'm going to nuke all of it. And don't like go running and buying all of these right now when you haven't worked on your SIBO root causes or your dysbiosis or your nutrition. That's not what we're endorsing. But nonetheless, professional to professional, what are some of your favorite critter killers?
I would say I really do like FC-Cytal and dysbiocide.
Yep.
I like GI Microbacs. I do find that that's a helpful one. It's funny. So you listed SF722. I really like that one. There's one that's a little bit newer. And again, I like berberine and ADP too. I know you had listed those. So
this one I might monopolize slightly on you, maybe.
Oh yeah, I actually want you to monopolize.
Okay.
Monopolize this from an herbalist standpoint.
Yeah, and I'll share too. Like, there's so many good. So the next one, guys, confusing the audience, is 4 favorite adaptogens. And there's a bunch more. Like, they're all fantastic for different things. But I just wrote down the ones that I tend to use the most, and I'll give you just a couple of bullet points so that if you're trying to select adaptogens, maybe you could pick from this list first, perhaps. But my 4 favorites, number 1 and number 2 are probably tied for me, being ashwagandha and eleuthero. The last 2 I have a little bit less hefty opinions on because we've got to get through our other bullet points. But they are my other 2 favorites. Schizandra is probably my number 3. I use quite a lot of Schizandra. It's the Schizandra berry or the seeds of the berry is what's used for medicine. You could get the dried whizzled up little berries. My last top 4 adaptogens that I wanted to round out with was holy basil. What I would say is that holy basil tends to elevate your mood and like lift your spirits a bit and be very uplifting. But
I wouldn't necessarily advise people to take them, and there might be rare situations where it makes sense, but the one is Modal Pro. And it's not that it's not that the ingredients or anything are like inherently
it looks good
bad.
on paper. Yeah.
Right. It just tends to create a lot of symptoms in the clients that I work with. Like, no one really tolerates it well. It's expensive. It's so many capsules to be taking.
And they're horse capsules. They're huge.
Right. And it causes a lot of ginger burn. And it just is not a really helpful prokinetic. I wouldn't say never use them, but I would be careful with using them.
Okay.
And these are kind of across the board. Like, I think lots of people use them, not just in the SIBO IBS space, but I think high dose melatonin, I think can be a really slippery slope for people. I'd much rather try to regulate sleep. And the only other one that I kept thinking of in my head was Senna. And Senna, again, like in short-term use might be helpful. Like but it's a pretty strong stimulant.
My 2 are colloidal silver, which in my opinion, literally nobody should ever take this. There's no purpose for silver in the human body. I don't think it's smart. I really don't.
Yeah.
My other one is really ironic because I listed biocidin. My biggest beef with biocidin is, well, I think it's very expensive for what you're actually getting. Like, it's not that like amazing of a blend if you look at it on paper, or at least if you were to ask like an herbalist or somebody who actually knows herbs. So we've worked our way from the 6 worst pieces of diet, or the 7 best, and basically 6 worst. We kind of did those all in one fell swoop.
Right.
Pieces of dietary advice, 5 favorite antimicrobials, 4 favorite adaptogens. We skipped over number 3, 2 supplements that nobody should take, / we kind of said 5. Oh well. And then number 1, drum roll please. Thank you. Is we have a special giveaway, guys. So if you are enjoying the podcast, we really hope you are. And if you would like to do basically a session with Amy and I and be a guest on the podcast, we are going to have a special raffle to round out 2020 and have a little bit of merry cheer in your year. If you tag us on Instagram, specifically, we now have an Instagram account for this podcast specifically, and the handle, Miss Amy, is...
Okay, hold on one second.
She'll tell us in a second.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
ibs.freedom.podcast. So
Perfect.
at ibs.freedom.podcast.
For those of you who are old ladies and don't use the Instagram much like me, yes, at ibs.freedom.podcast. If you tag us in a post, say something nice like, hey, this is a cool podcast I've been enjoying. I don't know. Share a picture of a puppy for all I care. But post something saying a few words about the podcast and tag at ibs.freedom.podcast in your Instagram post. If you get that into us by the new year, we're going to do a raffle on January 1st. And then the lucky winner gets to, well, hopefully you think you're lucky. The winner gets to come on the podcast with us, and then we will do a session with you, basically, on the podcast. So obviously you need to be comfortable sharing some of your health stuff with an audience, but we would like to help you troubleshoot and navigate through some stuff and prioritize some stuff and make some recommendations for you. And we'll do basically a 45-minute session with both Amy and myself, tag teaming it and trying to get your gut off to the right start in 2021. So go ahead and tag us in a fun Instagram post, say a few words about the podcast, hopefully nice things, and we will post on our Instagram page and tag the winner when we do our drawing on January 1st. So that was our kind of 12 Days of Christmas-esque episode.
Like we did like 4 days.
We did
not consecutive.
5? Yeah,
okay.
It's close enough. Whatever. It was a bit of a mishmash, but I had fun. And
I had fun too.
It's our podcast, so that's ultimately
we make the rules.
what it's all about. But Amy, it was a freaking pleasure starting this podcast with you in 2020. It was a shit show of a year, but I think I texted you this already. You've been the highlight of 2020 for me. So thank you for
likewise.
Thank you for saying yes when a kind of a rando approached you and said, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" And just thanks for being here every week with me.
Yeah, no, it's been so fun. It's been crazy because we haven't been able to record in a couple weeks, and I definitely missed it. Like
I did too. I was sulking.
I was sulking too. It's not, my Wednesdays aren't as fun when we don't record.
Agreed entirely. Well, we're gonna get back into it. The holidays have kind of threw us off our rhythm a little bit, but I look forward to recording many podcast episodes with you in January and beyond. And
can't wait.
Hopefully 2021 and beyond are much better years, because 2020 was weird. That's all I have to say.
It got weird for sure.
Yep. Shit happened in 2020. That is the handle. That's what you can tag us into the Instagram post. Tag us in the post that says
hashtag shit happened.
Shit happened in 2020. And then at ibs.freedom.podcast. And as always, if you're listening to this podcast on one of those like podcasting futuristic apps, go ahead and rate us 5 stars or thumbs up or do whatever you do on your particular app. Share it with the world. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and click like, subscribe, comment down below. If you're really itching to know the 3 tests that nobody should ever do, in my opinion, go ahead and comment down below on YouTube, and I would be sure to share that next time. And that's it. Peace out, Cub Scout. We are out for 2020. Onward and upward, my dear.
Yeah.